Hello, this is Todd Summers, Director of Research and Development for SoftWrite. In this video, I'll be presenting new updates in TAP 7.6.7 released in the late summer of 2023. There's three major updates. First one, under the hood, you're going to see a great deal of optimization in terms of speed for studies that use service features files. Additionally, for those that use parallel processing for your studies, so if you go under Preferences, Application, and you have Parallelize checked to use parallel processing on your system, previously this was only enabled for tile studies, is now also enabled for radial studies, contour studies, and target studies as well. So you should see significant speedups for those types of studies when you use parallelization. The second update, if you look on the home ribbon bar, is the inclusion of the ability to export and import studies. So you can import and export groups of studies from a project to share with other users. This creates a zip file, which is self-contained, including relevant antenna files, transmission line files, relevant shape files that are used in your studies. It also includes results files that you can then share with another user, or you can use to archive projects or groups of studies as you wish. So we'll click Export Studies first. Here, this brings up a tree for the current project of all the various studies in there. Those that are locked are ones that I've run and I've got results for. You have the option of including study results with the zip, or you can take those off and let the user that you share this with then run the studies themselves. So that is an option there. You can choose which ones you want. This is a selectable tree. So in this case, I'll just choose one of my path studies. I'll choose coverage study, route study, AutoPath study, and then you click export. Within export, you get the option of a zip file. The default brings up the project name, dash export studies, dash a date and timestamp. You can click save. You can just select different folders if you want to. So we'll save it. Get the export information here. When it's done, it says export finished with 0 errors and 0 warnings if there's none. You can then close it. For the study, I can then, anywhere I go, I can open up this study. If I click, you can then share this file with somebody else. If you want to import a study, we'll say we import the one we want. You have initially the archive is blank. Click Browse. Select the study. In this case, I'll select the study I just zipped. Click Open. Preserves the folder structure, so any of the folders in here are still preserved, and you can select which one of these you want to import. You can choose whether or not you want to actually import all the study results, or just bring it in empty. And then for import into, you have the option of importing into a new project, to browse, to insert into a selected .t7 project file, or you can import it into the current project. In this case, I'll just import into the current project. Here you get a window, it tells you the progress. It's going to bring over antenna files that were used. It's going to bring over line files that were used, and then it's going to look at the local databases and determine if you have exact copies of those. If you already have exact copies, it won't copy them in. It'll just use the copies within your database. It does not bring over topo data or land cover data that were used in the studies because those are frankly too large. When it's done, just go here, click Close, and look back at my tree, and here is my imported project with the preserved folder structure and all the data for this. So there's like my contour shape file, and so on. So very easy to bring things in and out. Very easy to share. So last topic. Actually, before I go on from this, it also brings over any shape files that you use in the study. These could be your vector surface feature files, or your contour. If you had a boundary shape file that you use in a tile study, that also comes over when you do these export then import. So that's the second update, the import export. The third thing, the third major item, is AutoPath studies. This is a maintenance release. So for AutoPath studies, if you've already run a study here, in this case is the one I just brought over from my previous, you'll notice now that there's a path selection tab for a study that's already been run. Under this path selection, you have filtering and pruning options. So the way you can filter it for a very large one here, you can choose to only select ones that have, say, an RX power, receive power greater than some value, receive margin greater than or less than some value, or a shadow ratio greater than less than some value. So you can filter it for receive power, for margin, or for basically a line of sight criterion. Now you'll notice here there's also a selection column that's been added. So by default, when you run a study, all the paths that are included within the AutoPath study are selected. You can click include none to deselect all. You can manually add them if you like. You can manually deselect them if you like. This filtering option does it automatically for you. So I'm going to include all for right now. And if I just want to keep all with, say, an RX power of greater than minus 90 dBm, I'll select that here, click apply filter. If I want an additional criteria that the range has to be less than, say, 10 kilometers, I can apply the filter this way. That's an additional one. If I want to include, another option is to include the best two either receiver or transmitters. So if I want to include the two best with an RX power greater than minus 100, and I apply the filter, what it means is for every transmitter, every common transmitter down here in the list, so here's your transmitter description, every one for, like, say, Douglas Central, it goes through all the Douglas Central options, and it finds the two best receivers that are greater than minus 100 dBm. So I ended up with, in this case, I have 5 transmitters and a whole bunch of receivers, I end up with 10 total paths. Now if I switch it over to TX, it cycles through all the receive points, and for each one it finds the 2 best transmitters. When I apply that filter, I end up with a whole lot more stuff in this particular case, as you can see here. At the end of the day, if you want to keep these, you want to keep this, you can click Prune Network. This will delete all the items, all the paths that are not selected here in the list. And in this case, there's 4,288 out of 10,870 results. So a little less than half here is selected in this case. So if I want to permanently delete those ones that are not selected, I click Prune Network. Now, this is permanent. If you don't want to do that, you should make a copy of this before doing the prune, and you'll be warned when you do it. So click Prune, you'll get the warning. Are you sure you want to modify the study results? This operation cannot be undone. SoftWrite recommends that you duplicate the study before pruning. In this case, I'm just going to click OK. And now I've pruned, and now my network is 4,288 points. I've gotten rid of all the ones that were not selected, and we move forward from there. I can do this again. I can say do a range less than 10 kilometers, prune again, click OK, and you keep modifying from there if you wish. And that is the AutoPath filtering and pruning option that is available within TAP. Thank you. Those are the updates for TAP 7.6.7. Hope you enjoy them. Keep your TAP updated, and happy tapping.